Hi, and thanks for joining me for this sourcing webinar. We're going to look at one specific job requirement and analyze it. We will analyze the technical vocabulary, we will analyze the role itself, and then dive deeper to how to actually find the specific IT professional. So let's dive right in. And we can actually look at the person who we contacted last week. So if you guys recall, last week we sent a message to one of these developers. It's this one, Sabolts Ishak. We sent him the message, right? Because last week we were looking for the Python web developer, and we spent like, I don't know, half an hour elaborating on what kind of a message can we write to this person so he gets excited and motivated, and and eventually this was the message we wrote him. So thanks again for all your ideas and input. So we need to, just learn these copywriting tips and tricks. And eventually we wrote the title, New Django Project, which I supposed to grab someone's attention. And then we continued with the message. Hi, Sabolts. I noticed you are a freelance Python Django developer. I'm working with a great engineering team that's growing and expanding. If you are looking for a new challenge that will give you some job security, we wanted to offer him something he most likely doesn't have right now. And if you'd like to expand your knowledge when it comes to cloud web development, we could discuss this exciting opportunity and other benefits that may be of interest. If you'd like to discuss it, send me your telephone number, please. Right, so this was the message. And guess what? He responded. He responded the other day. Hi, Michael. Thank you for reaching out. I would like to learn more about this opportunity. And then I wrote him. Hi again. Cool. Here is more info if you'd like to apply. I sent him the link where he can apply, and also included this one or two sentences. I work with the CPO and the engineering team, great guys. They build a platform for short-term rentals. Imagine people who own an apartment, want to rent it on Airbnb, but don't want to clean it all the time. So the platform takes care of it. And you can see how in real plain language, I actually explained what does the platform, or what's the core purpose of the platform. And sometimes, people from marketing or PR or even the business owner get so excited about this, about the company, right? And they use all the industry jargon, which people don't really understand. So it's good to sort of explain it like to a 5-year or 6-year-old kid with some example. So that's what I did right here. Imagine people who own an apartment, they want to rent it, but they don't want to clean it all the time. So the platform takes care of it. And then he responded, oh, wow, I'm also building now a website for my friend for short-term rentals. He has 9 flats in the same building. This can't be a coincidence. So I said, like, exactly, that's a sign. Have you submitted your CV on the website already? Right? So we have this kind of friendly conversation now on LinkedIn, which is quite cool, right? He wrote, some smile here and there. So feels like we know each other for years, right? No, just kidding. But still, it grabbed his attention. He was able to relate to something that he's doing right now, and it feels like we found the right person, because that's what he is working on technically with Python and Django, and he also works in pretty much same area or on the same industry, which is also a coincidence, but at the same time, it's quite cool, isn't it? And we found this person just last week during this sourcing webinar, right? So yeah, like that worked quite well. What do you guys think? Quite fun, right? And I also like this sort of approach to copywriting. Think about all these developers and what do they want, and how can we approach them in a more attractive way to connect to their desire, because that's what marketeers do at the end of the day. So this is also a way how to make recruitment more interesting, more exciting and more fun, right? It's better than just send links like, hey, you are interested in this opportunity, here is a link, apply. So that's also on a personal level a way for me to enjoy it a little, because it allows me to sharpen the copywriting skills and marketing skills, and it brings some results at the end of the day. Cool. So today I would like to share with you one of these openings. It's an opening for a chief technology officer. It's an on-site position, and we will look at who could be a good fit for this position. And actually, I would like to walk you through this job opening at first. And as always, if you, and I know some of you already are our partners in this sense, or vendors, so to say, like I've seen Elena here, or Adelina, Juliana. So great to see you guys here. Most likely you've already received this in your vendor portal. Now the question is, well, at first let's analyze this job requirement, and you can see that at the beginning of the job requirement, I included this one sentence, which it's never there, right? When you receive a job requirement from the hiring manager. I spent like, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes like going through the requirement, polishing it, tweaking, adjusting the text, so it really gets the person interested, the potential candidate. So it started with this, and I will then copy paste this on social media, on Facebook or on LinkedIn. So see, would you like to become a CTO in a fintech group responsible for 5 million OPEX / 2 million CAPEX and manage over 50 IT professionals while working from an office located on one of the most beautiful islands on the planet? Right, so the company, the client of ours is located in the Caribbean. The island is Santa Lucia or Saint Lucia, and it's really one of the most beautiful islands in the Caribbean or on the earth. So the company is based there, even though they are an international corporation, and we are looking for a CTO. So this sentence, I'll keep using this sentence on LinkedIn or on social media or in advertisement, because it's really supposed to speak to the potential CTO who would like to be responsible for $5 million or $2 million capex and manage over 50 IT professionals. So we are talking about in-house IT professionals or vendors while working from an office located on one of the most beautiful islands on the planet. So again, this comes back to some of these marketing or copywriting skills, identifying what's really interesting about the opportunity, because there are so many CTO openings, right? Maybe not as many as web developer, front end, back end, but still a CTO is a CTO, right? So there are lots of companies that have CTOs or are looking for a CTO. But this one is sort of special, or we can at least make it sound special. Would you like to become a CTO responsible for $5 million and manage 50 professionals while working from an office located in one of the most beautiful islands on the planet? Like, that's a huge, huge selling point of this opening. And it will be a piece of cake to find people who are interested in this after just reading this, right? And then obviously it comes back to the requirements that are not easy to meet, but still. A simple information about the company. And again, when we received the brief, it was full of this marketing and PR stuff, but we just streamlined it. Hey, they build mobile banking, financial services. They provide integrated experience for people to deposit, save, or transfer money and manage their finances. This corporation operates multiple brands, 5 million active customers, 50 countries. So there are some numbers that I like to highlight, and I even make it bold so it stands out right away, because that's something that gets attention of the candidate. We are looking for a CTO to join the team, one of the most beautiful islands. So this is the advert that they will also see on the social media. Chief Technology Officer, relocated to a beautiful island. It's a corporation with 5 million customers, fintech active in 50 countries. So all this will be interesting for the CTO because they will be responsible for, maybe I could include here 50 IT professionals. Well, probably I could still tweak it a little. Okay, what else? Requirements, responsibilities. I also highlighted these resources. Like the CTO will be responsible for 20 in-house staff and 20 contractors, CapEx, OpEx, yeah, that's clear. Responsibilities, responsibility for the technology operations, cybersecurity compliance, technology. Um, what else? What else could be? Well, requirements, obviously, the 5 years experience in a similar role of a CTO or C-level executive, someone who has already developed high-performing teams, someone who has already managed full-stack software teams, so backend, front-end, mobile teams. But coding in this case is not required, so obviously the CTO will not be coding, but they will be managing teams that are coding. And again, for our partners, I've included these screening questions, but also the candidate can just go through these questions and sort of answer in their mind. Do you have experience with managing full stack teams? Yes. Have you been leading teams for at least 5 years? Yes. How many IT professionals have you managed in your previous jobs? 5, 10, 20, 30, or none? Have you worked as a C-level executive in a corporation? Can you or do you want to relocate to the Caribbean? So if someone responds, 5 times yes, or the third question is a numerical, so say more than 10 or more than 5, more than 10, then the person would be definitely a great candidate for this, especially with this relocation these days, due to COVID, probably it will not be as easy, but I was talking to a few people, not for this role, but developers who consider relocating anyway. So the world has not ended, and it's gonna be just better, I guess, going forward. So let's see. Okay, so there are some benefits. So this is a job requirement. On social media, we will need to use something more condensed, something shorter, something that is like what we've seen here at the beginning, something like this. Would you like to become? Join this team. Be responsible for 50 IT professionals. Be responsible for $5 million OPEX. Lead a team of 20 full stack professionals, right? Um, and also the fact that they operate in 50 different countries is interesting because lots of compliance challenges need to be met and faced, and so lots of different cybersecurity threats to be mitigated, etc. So that all will make the job of a CTO interesting for someone who has been in a similar position, so someone who is looking for the next step in their career. All right, have you guys received this opening already? I'm not sure if Philippos has shared it with you, because I'm on a vacation, right? So I haven't shared it, but maybe Philippos did. So if he had, and you already know someone who could be a good fit, well, you can submit the person right away, and we will screen and interview the person to see if he or she is a really a great fit. And now the question is, who would be really a good fit? Like, how do we find someone like this? So how would you guys start? Juliana, you haven't? All right. Well done. Probably over the weekend or Monday latest. So how would you guys start looking for someone like someone who would be a good fit? Any ideas? You haven't? No worries. You will. And by the way, the salary is 120,000 a year, roughly. So the commission also for you guys will be sweet, so to say. So If you receive it, think about it and do some search. So who could be? You will check the database, right? Right. But how do you check the database? Like, what will be the keywords? And the CTO is obvious, right? But what could be? What could be? Yes, the CTO. But what is, for example, some alternative to a CTO? CTO is a Chief Technology Officer. So who else could be on a similar level? So for example, CTO or architect, VP of engineering, probably, yeah, VP of engineering. Or how about CIO or CSO? I just typed it in chat. Oh no, I just sent it to panelists. That's annoying about Zoom, that it always by default sends to panelists. So a CTO or CIO or CSO, because CTO is Chief Technology Officer, CIO is Chief Information Officer, and CSO is Chief Security Officer. But they all are sort of similar because they focus on technologies just from a slightly different angle. And I'm not saying in all cases, but it's quite likely that a CIO would be a good fit for this position also, because the CIO in some company could also be responsible for software development teams, could also be responsible for cybersecurity, for DevOps, for compliance, etc. So just keep this in mind when you are searching or sourcing a CIO or a CSO right away. And then the VP of engineering, as you, Adelina, mentioned, definitely yes. Usually, the VP of engineering is a subordinate of a CTO. So for the VP of engineering, it could be a nice career step. It's questionable if this criteria would be met. Where was it? Here, 5 years in a similar role. It's questionable if the executive board would see a VP of engineering as equal partner and architect. I wouldn't say so, because an architect would most likely not have experience developing high-performing teams. The architect would not manage full-stack teams. An architect usually designs the software or system. So either a particular software, so one software, or a system which is a mix of different software systems. So an architect, probably not. So I would look for CTO, CIO, CSO, or maybe even CISO. So like Chief Information and Security Officer. So there are a few different alternatives to this role. Technical lead or project manager. The project manager would be one of these 50 people. Where was it? Like project manager will be one of these 20 people the CTO will be managing. So the project manager is just like project role. Like it's a project manager is not even responsible for the individual development of employees. So it's not a people manager. A project manager manages a project, which is, I mean, great. It's just not what they are looking for in a CTO kind of role, because a CTO should be responsible for the operations, responsible for cybersecurity compliance. He or she should own the overall architecture and the design, and that's not what a project manager usually does. Technical manager, probably, yeah, that probably. It's questionable in what context was it used. It probably could be. And also, some people have on their LinkedIn profiles or in their resumes written Chief Technology Officer. Well, some people just have a CTO. So that's also why in this opening, I wrote both Chief Technology Officer in brackets CTO, just because when people saw or search on some job board, I want them to be able to find it and quickly spot it in both cases. All right, so I would start with the CTO, CIO, CISO, Chief Technology Officer, Chief Information Security Officer, the VP of Engineering. What else? What else? Maybe even some, I don't know, maybe some business owner who is transitioning. You know, there are some people who start their business and they are not satisfied with the business, so they go back to being employed in a corporation. And Sylvia wrote in chat, CTO or CIO or IT manager. Yeah, the IT manager is great. Or development manager. It could be, yes, the development manager could be. Head of technology, IT director. Yeah, the IT director role, it's a good one, definitely. Director, technical director, chief technology officer, chief information security officer, head of IT, COO, probably not. You know, actually, COO in even in this company, COO is our contact person. So it's the person who is hiring this CTO, just because the existing CTO is leaving. So COO is in the management board on the same level, is just having, or she in this case is having different responsibilities. So COO I would not mix with CTO. Head of IT, director of IT, yeah, great synonyms. And owners of software companies, probably, especially those who feel burned out and they don't want to just be responsible for all the hassle anymore. There are some people who burn out while creating some software development house. So maybe those would actually be a good fit because they would meet most of the requirements, managing teams, responsibility of the technical staff and development, etc. So they would meet all the criteria. They are just not CTOs officially. They are business owners or even CEO or um, co-founder or founder. It's just slightly different type of a company. All right. And what is interesting in this case, there is no specific technology mentioned. And it is sort of intentional because it's a corporation with lots of different technologies. They have acquired a few companies. They have their internal stack, and they have been on the market for a few years. So they have lots of different projects in place. No single technology. So it's slightly different in comparison to us looking for Python web developers who use Django, right? That's a very specific skill. But in this case, we are looking for someone who will be managing lots of different teams. So the development manager, the CTO, does not need to have any particular experience. So we are not limiting ourselves to only Java CTOs or only JavaScript CTOs because it just doesn't make sense. So it's technology agnostic, but it's definitely good if the CTO, the candidate, has some past experience with software development. But it could be with Java or JavaScript or Python or C++. It doesn't really matter. Do you know why the CTO is leaving? I know, yeah. I know because we've been already doing some business with them, especially some IT outsourcing. So the person is leaving because it's an island, and usually people um, don't like survive on the island for too long. And I mean survive like mentally, because um, there is pretty much nowhere to travel, right? Like at first it sounds very appealing, but after half a year or a year, you exhaust all the beaches and you get sort of saturated with the beauty out there, and then people are just, after 2 years usually, from what I've heard,
they just want to relocate back to Europe. So usually it takes 2 years for someone to be in this role, with the exception of people who have lived on the island since they are born. But usually when someone from outside joins this company or some other similar company on a similar island, it's usually 1.5 or 2 years long tenure, and then they relocate. So this person has been there 2 years roughly, and I guess it's about time for them to go back to Europe and enjoy more opportunities to travel than on an island. So it's interesting. Sometimes we always want something we don't have, right? Like as I mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, I'm on a vacation this week. It's a beautiful place, right? But I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, it must be really amazing to be on this island on Santa Lucia. I'll show you a few pictures. It's really beautiful. Um, like what I wanted to say is that we always want something we don't have, right? So now when I'm on a vacation, I'm thinking, gosh, like it's beautiful here, but imagine how much more beautiful it it could be right here, right? But as soon as you are there for a year, then you are sick and tired of this beautiful beach, and you are like, gosh, like I want to go back to Europe and I want to enjoy hiking again. So that's the reason. Can be from USA or South America. The candidate, yeah. They don't have any specific preference or requirement about the location. They offer the full relocation package, which I wrote about at the end in the benefit section. So the relocation package is a few thousand euros. So they cover the flight ticket and shipping of, I don't know, some container of stuff for the person to move in and move out. Also housing allowance, about $2,000 every month. So that actually gets the candidate the really beautiful apartment, car, mobile phone, annual bonus plan. They take care of the visa and everything. So like it's one of these corporate positions where they take care of everything, and the package is sweet. And you know the location is beautiful, so who wouldn't want to go there? Probably with COVID these days it will be a little harder to fill than it could be a year ago or 2 years ago, but I'm sure there are people who still want to relocate from Europe, and they want to enjoy this beautiful place. And sometimes all they need is to, oh, where was it? Is to just see, yeah, here, just to see these beaches, and they get excited. And again, it comes also back to our copywriting and marketing skills. Like we need to think about these CTOs as people who may have a spouse, whether the CTO is male or female, like they have someone they will most likely go with, right? So we can also talk about this. You can say something like, hey, and imagine you go with your wife, and she can enjoy this beautiful beach, over the weekend. Um, so it could be one of these factors, right? Because people usually decide based on the emotion, and then they use logic to justify the decision. So we can also use this to our advantage when as soon as we know if the candidate has a family or a spouse, so we can mention it somehow during the screening call. Mm, all right. So the location anywhere, really, it doesn't matter. And we will have more, by the way, positions of this sort. So a C-level executives, which is really cool because the salary is higher, and obviously that also brings some good commission also to you guys, who are our partners. And that as soon as you submit the candidate, we split the commission. So if you know someone who could be even remotely a good fit, but someone who meets these criteria, don't hesitate to submit it. I mean, the CV in the vendors portal. I will, in this case, I will, in some cases, a colleague of mine, but to these senior executives, it will be me calling because I want to get them excited about this opportunity. And I know more about this company because we did some outsourcing for them last year. So I know about some of their technical challenges. I know a little about the team, so I can talk about it with the candidate. So these are some of these questions that you can also use when you are screening the candidate. I like to include it here. A little about the location, skills. Like these are not as hard skills as we've seen, for example, last week with a Python developer. It was Python, Django, or with a front-end developer, it is JavaScript and React. In this case, we cannot really use any of these hard skills because these are more of soft skills, you know, a team player, deep commercial awareness. Like how do you find someone with deep commercial awareness on LinkedIn? Like hardly, right? But we can approach people based on their title, based on their seniority. So on LinkedIn Recruiter, you can identify people with 10 or more years of experience. And really, it doesn't make sense to approach someone with only 5 years of experience because the person would not be senior enough. So we are talking about 10 or more years of experience in IT, which effectively say if someone starts in IT at the age of 23, we are talking at least 30 to 35 years old person to relocate here. So that's one of the criteria, so number of years of experience on LinkedIn that you can use. What else? Do you guys have any idea how else to look for this CTO? Feel free to write in chat. Sylvia, the list of I mean, the Boolean string with the list of all these titles is great. Definitely, very cool. We could, for example, look for someone who, how about I just copy this? However, I would exclude the COO. COO or director of IT. Yeah, that was great. I would headhunt similar organizations. Right. Yes, that could be a good start. So see, head of information technology. Yeah, you see this title. So probably CTO at Tabela. And you can go, for example, with like really who is a good fit. Like a CTO from a company of 3 people would probably not be a good fit, right? Because the person is maybe a CTO in a small startup and they would not have the sufficient experience, the business acumen. So say we would look for someone who has already been there, you know, in a large company, someone who has at least 10, 12 years of experience. So 12 years of experience. Someone with international experience, right? But how do you find someone with international experience on LinkedIn? Like you can use the word international, but like people who have international experience may not use the keyword. So how about the C-level? That's CTO, CIO, CSO, so the seniority level. What else? First name, last name, no. Joint company, no. Company size, yeah, that's what I wanted. Like a company of 3 people would not be a good fit. So we are talking about people from these large companies. So at least 500 people, maybe 200, maybe it would be a nice career step for someone who has been working in a company of 250 people. Could be nice. Willing to relocate option, Probably, yeah, yeah. So say we have 50,000 candidates. It's really cool. Tomasz Jaburek. But I also have this keyword here, CTO. So now we only see those who have CTO in somewhere in the profile. So regional CTO, CIO. You see CIO, so Chief Information Officer and Chief Technology Officer. So this is someone who is sitting on both chairs, and that's okay. What about companies with more than 50? Yeah, also, yeah, I would, I would also include those. It could be a nice step, career step for someone, for example, from 70. Like there's no, it's really hard to draw the line in the sand. Probably less than 20 doesn't make sense. So over 20, 25, 50 definitely makes sense. So Yuri, what else? We need someone who has experience with fintech, ideally, because it's a fintech company, so financial services. What's up? Doesn't work. Well, doesn't work anymore. But Sylvia, you wrote it: fintech or financial technology or financial tech, financial services. Yeah, that's great. That's great. That's for the industry, but now it's sort of froze on my end. So I'll just try with event services. All right, so maybe it will work now. Well, it doesn't work. So something broke here. No. Okay, so industry I cannot use right now. It's probably some bug, or maybe my connection broke. So hopefully you can hear me. But you get the point. And Sylvia, what you wrote could be used in the industry. I'm thinking about the business technology. What does business technology mean? I mean, it sounds good. Sounds good. I'm just wondering. I probably, yeah. Like we could definitely try. Looking through my LinkedIn network, someone like John Cunningham would be a good fit if he wanted to relocate. John Cunningham. So let's see. I could open up his profile and we will see. John Cunningham. John Cunningham. Enterprise cybersecurity engineer. No. Well, there are so many of them, right? Supply chain. All right. So the name is no longer unique unless the name would be interim CTO. Maybe this guy, interim CTO, director of or head of software development innovation in Liverpool. Probably, yeah. This guy, like he has the right keywords. Cool, Jeremy, cool. Specialist in software development, innovation, transformation, software development expert, agile waterfall Kanban, yeah, the right keywords, DevOps, analytics, cloud. Yeah, they also use Amazon Cloud in the company. 14 years of the board experience in 3 businesses. He was a scrum master. All right. Like he has all these keywords that indicate that he's senior enough. He led projects to 200 million pounds. That's great. He's an interim chief technology officer right now for the last 2 years. So it's not interim anymore, probably. Like interim means temporary or somehow short term. But yeah, like this sounds good. Like Jeremiah, if you know this guy and if you want to just call him and ask if he is open to change or to some new opportunity, then feel free to submit him to our vendor portal, and definitely you will have a chance to get this commission. chief technology officer, interim CTO, like great. Like he's been a CTO for the last 10 years at least. So definitely a very, very experienced profile. It's just the question if he's willing to relocate, but maybe. Like one of the, oh, now I just realized what I forgot to write in the JD. One of the huge advantages of this island is that there is either no taxation or like very, very little taxation. So say if John gets 10,000 pounds in London in the UK, he would need to tax a huge part of it. However, if he gets 10,000 in the Caribbean, like he can keep like almost 10,000 anyway. So very little taxation in the Caribbean. So I just need to remember this and add it to this job opening because it's a huge advantage, right? If you get 10,000 in the UK or 10,000 in the Caribbean, where you can keep all of them. So his role at Optos, which one is Optos? Yes, this one. Interim head of software delivery. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like someone like this, head of software delivery, probably some title to add to the list. But we would also find him as a CTO, chief technology officer, interim CTO. All right. It's quite windy here because I'm sitting outside. For those of you who just joined a while ago and you wonder how come Michael is not in his regular place, it's because I'm on a vacation this week. But since we have it scheduled and this is one of our new openings, I thought it could be a great chance to tell you guys a little more about it, and you will receive it either probably later today or on Monday to your vendor portal. So yeah, and now cars are going around. It's windy, so it's probably some sign that it's about time to wrap it up for today. And we don't have to go too deep in this. But thanks Sylvia a lot for composing these bowling strings, because that's exactly the right mindset, you know, to think about these different alternatives, different titles, different industries, or different ways to call the same industry. So it could be financial technology, it could be fintech, it could be financial tech. So definitely great approach. Yeah, cool. So what do we do, guys? Shall we wrap it up? So it's not too distracting for you, also this noise, and I'll keep enjoying the vacation. But this is a good fit. I mean, Jerome, like definitely before you submit this candidate, you should talk to him if he's on the market, because there is no point of submitting him and then we figure out that he doesn't want to change his job. But if you are connected with him, if you would like to just quickly drop him a message or give him a call, and you can obviously forward him this JD, then and there is always an option to negotiate higher salary, right? Like this is what they sort of propose, but at the end of the day, if they like the candidate and the candidate says, I want $11,000 per month, well, then probably they will find a way. And there is also some additional benefits of housing allowance over $2,000. So it's 10,000 plus 2,000 plus relocation package. So, you know, it's not too bad. It's not too bad, definitely. Even for a senior CTO, plus all these other benefits, such as the most beautiful island on the planet, right? One of those. All right, cool. So let's wrap it up, guys. I gave you some hints on how to find this not developer, but CTO. I'll also look for candidates next week. I'll start approaching some of my first connections, and I will kick off some campaign on the social media. So I'll keep you posted how it goes. And and probably next week at the beginning we can send a message to a few guys when there is not such a noisy environment around me as it is right now. Sounds like a plan? But still, we need to figure out when do we do it, because Friday 4 p.m. may not be the best time, as some of you mentioned already not last week. So it will be probably Thursday 4 p.m. or Thursday 5 p.m. We will see. I'll keep you posted. Maybe I'll just send you a message, and we will see when you can do it, and I'll find some time when all of us can anyway join. Thanks, Elena. Thanks everyone for joining, even during this vacation. And yeah, let me know how it goes with John. It will be really amazing, right? If if he's interested, and then we are like, well, let's submit this candidate next week. Oh, it's fun with recruitment, right? So enjoy, guys. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll talk to you next week. Cheers. Bye bye.